Do this today if you're feeling overwhelmed as a project manager. The problem, it happens a lot. Overwhelm is very, very common in project management. Doesn't matter if you're in a junior role or you're in a very senior role, you're a team lead. Overwhelm can happen at any point, and I've experienced it multiple times in my career. And it could be because you've got too many projects to manage, which is more common when you're a junior, when you're given lots and lots of small projects, or you're stuck in the middle of a really demanding and difficult stakeholder and then a frustrated team, and you're trying to ensure that both parties are happy and they're getting what they need. Or you might just have the lack of confidence in what you should be doing. I've never done this before. I don't know how to plan this. There's too many people. There's lots of senior people in the room. Shall I speak up? Shall I ask this question? Or quite simply, you are just lacking time to be able to get done what you need, you know needs to get done. So these are 5 things that can help with overwhelm. And these are all based on my experience of the things that have helped me in my career. And the first one is very simple. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't ignore this feeling. It's trying to tell you something. So just act on it. And you may take some of the actions I'm going to talk about shortly, but if you ignore it, the outputs of that are frustration, burnouts, you make mistakes, you snap at people. It could be all sorts of different things that are going to have a negative effect and ultimately create more problems, and you're going to feel even more overwhelmed. So as soon as you start to get that feeling, you have to take some form of action. The second one is it's okay to stop sometimes, especially when you're feeling really, really busy. You think, I haven't got time. But take a step back and reassess and replan and think about what you need to work on. Because you might not feel like you have the time, but honestly, it will save you a ton of time in the future by doing this, because it gives you a clearer mind. And obviously, by doing that, the overwhelm is going to come down because you're feeling more in control rather than just pushing on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Number 3 is focus only on what matters now. Now, this might mean you skipping a meeting or not delivering on a report that you said you're going to do. But if you get what matters done now, you'll feel better and your project will thank you for it. Because that's part of the problem when project managers get overwhelmed. They're still trying to do everything and they're treating everything the same urgency, same importance, and it's not. There's always things that can drop, even if you feel like, oh, I shouldn't be dropping this. If it has a greater impact for you mentally and on your projects in the long run, you've got to do it. So you need to take some hard decisions. Number 4 is don't put off the most challenging tasks or conversations, because the longer you leave it, the harder those conversations and tasks become, because you just run out of time and wiggle room. It's like if you go to someone with a problem and you give them a week, they're going to be much more likely to work with you versus going and giving them a day. So you tell them on a Friday morning, we've got to get this done by the end of the day. They're going to be annoyed straight away, and that makes things a lot harder. So don't put off conversations, tackle those hard tasks. And if it is still feeling like you're still feeling overwhelmed with those hard tasks, just break them down into smaller chunks. Just get started. That is the key. Now, the final one, number 5, is just speak to someone and ask for help. Because most people will think positively of you for sharing that you're struggling and you want help, because it happens to everyone at some point in their career. Most decent people will go, I'm really sorry to hear that. Right, what can we do? Can I take this off you? Can I do that for you? As long as you go in there with, being transparent, I'm struggling with this. I think this is going to be a problem if I don't do this. This is how I'm feeling, etc., etc. You have to judge how much you share, but getting that help is going to make all the impact. You can't solve everything on your own. It's always better to ask. The worst case, someone can just say, no, I'm not helping. But most cases, I'd say like 90% of the time, you're going to get some form of help, because when someone asks for help, people just feel obliged to give it in some form or another. So that's the 5 points. And remember, the first point, if you're starting to feel overwhelmed, you need to act on it. Whatever that action is, you need to do something. Don't think it just go away. It won't. Very likely it's going to get worse. So act on it, get help, take a step back, whatever it is, but just do something about it as quickly as possible.